All right, we're back with another one. Thanks for joining me on the Coyote Radio Show and podcast. Great guest today. Tori Miller's with us. Her voice is special, man. I'm telling you. If you haven't heard of her, go check her out. She's got a few songs on Spotify. You can find some stuff on the internet. Of course, all the social media. She's on a track with Liam St. John. I know that gets a lot of play, so you might have heard her voice on one of those. But anyway, I think she's talented. I think she's got a voice, and we're happy to have her on the show to share her story. Before we do that, we definitely got to give it up to Duke's Indy, our sponsor, and Bard Distillery down there in Kentucky. Hats off to them. Thank you guys for supporting the podcast. It goes a long way. If you want to learn more about those two companies, links in the description. One other thing I want to mention, March 1st, tickets. Well, no, March 1st, we're going to announce the lineup for the festival that's coming out called Pickin' in the Backwoods. And March 8th, a week after, is when we'll release tickets. It's very limited tickets, so I wouldn't wait around, sit on your hands on it. So once those are available, I would grab one. It's 2 days of music, 20 bands, everything's included. It's bring your own beer, free camping, free parking, all that good stuff. And the lineup is stacked. I'm telling you, the lineup is killer. Talent level is insane. So you'll love it. Trust me. Um, yeah, that's all the updates. Let's go talk to Tori and see what she's got to say. All right, Tori Miller's with us. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I guess it's been, well, not that long. It's been about 2.5 months or so since you were in town for you were hanging out at the New Year's Eve show that we had at Duke's.
Yeah, that was a party.
That was a good time. That
It
was
was.
wasn't expecting to see you there, so it was great to see you go on stage and do a couple songs with Liam.
Yeah, we love to sing our murder ballads any chance we get. But that was a fun night. It was a great bill.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, like I said, thanks for being on. We kind of want your backstory. Like, where are you from and how'd you get into music?
Sure. Yeah. So if you ask my family, they'd probably say I came out of the womb singing. But I'm originally from the northwest corner of Arkansas, right at the base of the Ozarks. And grew up in a really musical family. Like all my family gatherings were uncles and aunts playing bluegrass in a circle. And I was always, always gravitated toward being in the middle of that and learning. And so that's kind of like the foundation of it all. And then I picked up a guitar when I was about 10
Yeah.
and felt that feeling of, creating something from the ground up and yeah, fell in love. And the rest is history.
Yeah. Do you play any other instrument or you just stick to guitar?
I play guitar and then I pretend, I can play mandolin. I can play really like basic stuff, but I enjoy it though, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a region where you're from that kind of gets overlooked a little bit. And well, I guess the diehard bluegrass fans, they all know, but like
Yeah, they
to
all know.
outsiders, they're like, there was bluegrass in Ozarks? What?
Yeah,
Like, yes, there was, and lots of it.
absolutely. See this little poster up here? That's from my
I see
my
a Bill
pop.
Monroe.
It's yeah, it was the Eureka Springs Ozark Folk Festival. Bill Monroe headlined it in 1990, and my grandpa is like a huge influence in my life as far as falling in love with folk and bluegrass. And he had this stuff all over his house.
Yeah.
So I just didn't know any different. I thought that was what everybody loved and knew my part of the country for. And then I got a little older, and people are like, "What? The Ozarks? Bluegrass?" But
Yeah, historically, some definitely some awesome musicians come from that area.
definitely.
So you picked up a guitar, started writing songs, running away with it. When did you actually feel like, this is something I want to pursue, like as a job or a career? Like when were you like serious about it?
Yeah, I heard that there was this theme park That was in Branson, Missouri, and it was like this 1800s themed. It's called Silver Dollar City, and
Hmm.
yeah, and I like grew up going there for their bluegrass festival, and was always like really intrigued by the kids that were my age in the summers singing bluegrass and clogging and the whole nine. And I told my parents, they were like, you know, got to start thinking about a way to earn money in the summer. And I was like, I already know what I want to do. I want to work at Silver Dollar City. And it was like a 2.5, 3 hour drive from my home. And my parents sacrificed just a ton to get me up there. I auditioned and then made their summer show. So for like 2 years in the summers, I played and sang there and danced there every weekend. So I got like this whole, I mean, I was really immersed in like the true Ozark bluegrass, clogging world. And I was like, I don't want to do anything else for the rest of my life. This is it. I'm a performer. I'm an entertainer. Let's go.
Yeah.
So that was probably like the first time that switch like happened in me. And then from there, it was like every talent show, state fair, anytime I could sing a song I wrote and play the 3 chords I knew on guitar, I was in it. So yeah.
That's awesome. Never been there, to Branson, but I've always heard about very touristy, but a lot of music goes through
Yes.
there.
Super touristy. As a little kid, it was like the bright lights of Vegas, but like all country music. So
Yeah. So you were dancing too. So clogging?
yeah, was not my finest, uh, not my finest skill, but my heart was in it. So
Yeah. I have
um,
always been interested in buck dancing, which is, a little scaled back version of clogging, less movement,
yeah,
I guess, flat foot. Th-
yeah.
Actually, I got to show you this now.
Okay, I'm ready.
Well, I'm not dancing. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
But I built this
you thought you were gonna do
platform.
your little jig.
This is my platform recently, so I can do some dancing on here soon.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's got the nice little handle. I can just carry it to little festivals and just
What? Okay,
drink
that's
whiskey and
actually
dance.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yes, I love it.
it's a good way to exercise, I guess. I'll probably do it in private for a long time before I would go public.
Yeah, I mean, no one will get, I'm glad there's no like public video of me clogging because they were definitely like, Tori, you're fine. You stand like in the back corner. The people, over on the side watching will be able to see you.
Surely, someone in the family has some VHS tapes or something hidden in
Let's
the
hope not.
archives.
But yeah, I'm sure my mom has it somewhere. But ooh.
That's great. So, fast forward to now, like, well, maybe we should, since we're talking about that time of your life, you're a rodeo girl, right? Then you did the
Yeah.
whole like circuits with that too.
Yeah. Bluegrass and country music and rodeo, hand in hand where I come from, and grew up like in a rodeo community. And my stepdad is a team roper and was a rodeo judge, flag judge for many years. And so I yeah, was the other like love of my life. I was probably 3 years old when they put me on the back of a horse and were like, okay, you're gonna walk a barrel pattern, which were really 3 10-gallon buckets out in the yard, and so I learned the clover leaf and I was like, let's go, I'm ready. And so they like, took me around when my dad was judging a rodeo or team roping. I would tag along and push cows or run a pattern. And I think I ended up like in the top 5 in the state of Arkansas for junior barrels. I
That's
just really
awesome.
loved it. And the adrenaline that comes from all that. And there was a period in my life later on where I needed to take a step back from music. And I was like, the only other thing I know is rodeo. So I became Miss Rodeo Arkansas in 2016 and did it all again for a year, the whole traveling the country to different rodeos and representing Arkansas. So that was cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. I remember I told you in person that I visit Arkansas quite often, every year usually, except for this year. We didn't make the trip this year to uh, trap coyotes and stuff. But
Mm,
I remember being down there and meeting some locals, and here where I'm at, we don't have rodeo teams. There's some stuff that happens on the weekends, but as far as like schools being involved and all that, we just don't have that. And I
yeah.
was just like jealous when I was down there. I was like, man, I want to ride a bull or whatever, And some guy was down there trying to trade me. He's like, you teach me how to catch these coyotes, and I'll teach you how to ride a bull.
Hell yeah.
It never happened, but it sounded
Oh, I was
cool
about
at the
to say,
time.
that'd be sick.
Yeah, I don't know how insurance works, but I don't think they would like me getting on a bull.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
it'd be
did
fun
you,
to watch.
yeah. So did you drag a guitar around with you on those rodeo circuits too and play for everyone or?
Some, yeah, and
Yeah.
well, primarily did like, just like the campfire playing after rodeos with the contestants or their wives or whatever. And then I sang the national anthem like more times than I can count as Miss Rodeo Arkansas. It was like, oh yeah, we have a rodeo queen that can sing it. Oh, your person didn't show up. She's right out back. So um
On standby at all times.
yeah, for sure. Absolutely. One time I was in Lakeside, California, and that happened. And it was like this epic rodeo that I was so looking forward to going to, just representing as a rodeo queen. And they were like, we need someone to sing the national anthem. So I got up there, but it was cool to combine those two worlds, and yeah. So that was pretty much the extent of it, though.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you got a diverse background for sure. Um, Speaking of all the bluegrass that you're around, the song you have out there is a time.
Yeah.
That song is beautiful. I
Thank
mean, that is
you.
well done. I don't know who was in the studio with you or what, but it sounds effortless. Like it's really good.
That means a lot. It's I heard that song and like grew up on it as a kid, and my pop taught me about like how important the Dillards are to bluegrass music, and how they change the tide in lots of ways. And so I think knowing that as a kiddo, knowing how important that was to the genre that I love the most, it's just been one that I've played since I was young. And that group of guys, we've played together since we were teenagers. And so to hear that it sounds effortless is cool, because I would like to think that it was just kind of a second nature. We were like, let's just try that Dillard's tune and see
Yeah,
if it works. And so we tracked it live, and I think it was like a 2-take thing, and it felt like magic. Felt like that was what was supposed to happen that day.
just felt
Uh,
right. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm glad that it translated, and it's done way better than I ever imagined it would. So
The I mean, everyone does covers to some extent, and I'm pretty picky about like, it's all cool to cover a song or whatnot, but to do it right or do it justice, it's like that's hard to do. Like the Dillards
it's
are
pressure.
amazing. Like the Dillards, I got all kinds of records from Dillards back here, and so
Yeah, love it.
perfect too for your region. I mean, it makes total
Yeah,
sense. So
absolutely. Well, I appreciate you saying that. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and I was like, I almost didn't pull the trigger on it, so it just feels like sacred ground.
yeah,
But
well, they would
we
be
did.
proud.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Um, so what's your plans moving forward? I know you mentioned you're working on an EP.
Yeah. I have been like hustling in the shadows for a while, and trying to figure out my voice, trying to combine like my roots and what I love with the different seasons of life that I've been in, I suppose. And I feel like I finally have like a bundle of tracks that I'm really proud of and ready to share. So I was just kind of waiting and putting feelers out for the right producer. I knew that I wanted my childhood band on all those tracks, same band as that's on there as a time. And finally just kind of fell into my lap. Benjamin Dakota Rogers, who's
Oh yeah,
a
wonderful.
dear friend. We've always really connected on what we like and gravitated toward the same things and tracks. I like joined them on the road for a little stint, and yeah, just like very aligned musically. And when I found out that he was dipping his toe even more into production, just kind of sat in the back of my mind a little bit. And then finally I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna see if he thinks it'd be as good of an idea as I think it would be. And he was like, hell yes, been like waiting for it, let's do it. So flying the band to Canada, and we're going to track on his family's tobacco farm. And I think it'll be really authentic to honor the genre, and then kind of just what I also want to infiltrate into it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's great. I love his music, his sound.
Yeah, he's incredible.
He puts some like raw emotion behind it, which I love in music. Like I want to
Yes.
feel something when I listen to music, you know?
Yeah,
I get that from
absolutely.
him.
Yep. And I saw him play to a crowd in like downtown LA. He gets up on stage and he's doing his little BDR like dance, and everyone was like enamored, and you could tell it was like something new to a lot of people, and the way that he captivated them, and knows his voice, and like, I don't know, just a huge fan of his. So I'm super
Yeah.
pumped that he's going to be on this project with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many tracks are we thinking?
I think it's going to be a 5-track
5.
EP. Yeah.
Okay.
And it spans a couple different seasons of my life, but definitely the more recent ones. And one track in particular I wrote like for the Boston Mountains. I like heard about a family squabble. My mom was telling me about how my great grandma kicked her sister out of her house because she found dip in her sock. Like they were, and she was like, this is really interfering with like my ability to become a member of high society. And she had like moved, my great grandma had moved from the mountain down to the city and really wanted to join the square dancing community at the Legion. It's very important to her. And her sister was like, I want to come too. And she was like, well, you can't bring anything low class with you. That was considered low class, I guess. She sent her back. So I wrote a song about it. And yeah, so I'm pumped. It's very like storytelling centered project, but it's what I love.
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked a little bit too outside of here about just murder ballads and storytelling. Uh, those are some of the best ones, really. I don't know what it
I
is. It's
agree.
something like you seem to pay attention a little bit more than usual when some
Yeah.
story like that's being told. But
Yeah. I know we talk about it often. It's like, is it like kind of warped that I'm like drawn to like the true crime songs? But I don't know. There's like a level of that, like, not the killing kind of darkness, but like darkness in all of us. I think that we battle on some level. And so to like talk about that kind of depravity in the human nature, I don't know. There's just something about it that
yeah,
I at least am really drawn to.
right. Well, there's a reason like crime shows and crime podcasts are like #1 in the world. So,
I know. I definitely contribute to that viewership for sure.
yeah. What are some of the other topics?
Well, on this, there's definitely a murder ballad on there.
Okay.
It's a song I wrote with Liam St. John over morning coffee. I was sitting there and he was playing some riff and I was like, I love that. And I have this idea about a woman that's like, an outlaw, badass cowgirl. Like what would she do if somebody like tried to steal her man? Like what would be the level of consequence in like the Wild West for that? And so yeah, called the song Deadly Sin, and it's storytelling about a shootout between this woman and another for the man. So
I can't wait to hear these.
I know it's like I got to play them out in Nashville for the first time. I guess it was, yeah, in December. and I didn't really know what to expect. I think it's just been a long time since I've um, played live anyway, and stepped into that, and it was a sold out crowd, and like you could hear a pin drop, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. It kind of was like a release for me to be like, all right, I'm ready to do it. Like I feel like finally found the voicing, people are listening, and like that we were talking about, the storytelling just kind of grips people, and I'm excited to share what I have to say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's gonna be great. Is there a projected like date you think? I mean, obviously this all takes time, but is there like a goal date that you want to have this released?
Yeah, I'd love to have it out in August.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know that we're gonna keep it like with BDR on it. I know it's gonna stay pretty raw, and I want to be able to like feel the room and all the tracks, which has its advantages as far as like production goes, because we'll hopefully just track everything live, and um hopefully it'll land on days when we're all in sync and the
Yeah.
magic's in the room and the turnaround time won't be too steep.
Yeah.
But yeah, August.
Honestly, I don't think I mean, there's so many ways to go about it, but that's some of the best music, I think. The live tracking and stuff, even when the little things go wrong, it just it's kind of like character added, like
Yeah.
a timestamp of that day of like what happened. It's like the artist fingerprint on a painting by accident. It's
Hmm.
something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that. That's true. Because it's that's something that I feel like I've like battled in my artistry, is like walking that line between like the perfectionist side of me, which wants it to sound, maybe cleaner. But then you have those moments, and There's a Time is a great example of that. I listened back to the take that we did, and it was just like full body goosebumps, and it's not perfect. And of course, I can go through and like pick out the little things that, like, oh, you know,
yeah,
we're slapping the bass a lot, but it's like that character, yeah, like what you said, and it takes me right back there. And I guess that's the feeling that I want to give everybody, is like they're standing in the room with us while we make it.
yeah, yeah. I think that's a great approach, really, to all music. I don't know if it's just how we have all been raised and over the past 10, 15 years, how polished everything is that comes out. I don't know, it almost becomes like plastic or just fake. I don't even know what.
Yeah,
So
it loses its soul a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I think that's turning around too. I think a lot more people are cutting live these days
yeah,
because of
agreed.
that reason. The
It's
kind
a
of
welcome
pushback.
change.
Right, right. Well, that's exciting. Are you planning on touring behind it after it gets released? Maybe doing a run of shows and all that good stuff, or
Yeah, that's the hope. Um, I think I like experienced a ton of loss, unfortunately, and have put my like passions on the back burner to, you know, take care of myself and take care of like my mental health. And now over the last 6 months to a year, like a lot of healing has happened. And it's like all of the passions of like little Tori have like returned. And I'm like, let's effing go. Like I'm ready to just like get on the road, do what I feel like I was created to do. So yes, to answer your question, absolutely. Want to take it to anyone that's interested in hearing it, for sure.
yeah. Well, good. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm pumped about it. Make sure you come to
Thanks.
the Midwest.
Absolutely.
You might have to do a whole stint in Canada since you're recording up there and
Yeah.
run
And listen,
everywhere.
I hear that they're the nicest folks on the planet, Canadians. And any of my like touring friends, really, like if Canada is on the roster when they get back, I'm like, where was your favorite stop? They're like, Canada. I feel like it's like this gem of a spot that I need to experience. So
They didn't like hone it down. They're like all of Canada. It
all of
wasn't like
Canada.
one.
Most
It's so huge.
most recently I've heard Montreal
Okay.
like a few times as a really good spot to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely with Benjamin on it, I'm like, let's go. Show me the ropes.
That's great. Um, Another song that's out there, at least on the streaming platform, is Cotton Lace.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that song. That's got a cool vibe to it. I like the lyrics. That
Thanks.
punchline about the tears and the lace.
Yeah,
That's
true
good. Like it
story.
painted the picture. Like,
Yeah, it was funny actually. The other night we were sitting in the living room and I was like going through some boxes that I brought from to Nashville from Arkansas, and that damn pillowcase was in one of the boxes, and I brought it out and I was like, this is it. It's like lined in the cotton lace from my great grandma. But yeah, it was just like one of those moments where I was like, did I like I gotta go like change the pillowcase on this pillow because I had cried so hard over my heart being broken. And I think about it often, you know, and so yeah, it was just like something I wrote in my journal that came to life. And yeah, it's a good one. I want to recut that one live.
okay,
Um and it was important for me to like get it out for sure. But I think that everything that we do as artists is like viewed as a stepping stone to figuring out like, you know, who we are, what's next. And I'm grateful for that song because I was like, okay, that I actually tracked that before There's a Time. And then There's a Time kind of happened, and I was like, you know what, from here on out it's like live takes for me. That's where the
yeah,
energy is found the most. And but yeah, I'm thankful for the tune. It's hopefully, I mean, I feel like a lot of people slide into my DMs and are like, I've done the same thing, or this is like really healing, so I appreciate those.
yeah. That's good to know you can relate to someone through music.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. Where are you now? Are you in Nashville or home or
Yeah, I'm in Nashville at
okay?
our place here. Um, and it's good. I've been here for about 3 years, coming up on 3 years.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's like what everybody says, that big small town vibe. And I feel like I experience artistry and creativity the moment that I like enter the public sphere here, which is pretty like magical and definitely not what I'm used to growing up on a farm. So,
right.
um, yeah, it's been really good.
We're good. That's awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't been down there in a little while. I need to come visit again.
gotta come see us.
Yeah, I usually try and catch a show. I like going to Robert's Western World. That's probably the only spot on actual Broadway that I like going to, playing
Yeah,
more traditional stuff. I don't know. Some of my friends play at other venues. Maybe I go in there, but usually I like hitting all the stuff that's not in the chaos, like
agreed.
Dee's Cocktail Lounge or
Cheese is
American
great.
Legion over there. Post
Mhm.
82 is good.
Underdog.
Yeah, Underdog.
Underdog. Yeah.
I need to get over to the Station Inn. I've actually
Yes.
never been there.
I haven't either,
Yeah.
which is
It,
wild.
I mean, it's nothing fancy, but it the amount of people that's walked in there and played that stage is pretty impressive.
For sure.
Yeah.
Bobby's Idle Hour is another great one. I played
Yeah.
there a few weeks ago, and that was a fun spot.
Yeah. Well, we didn't really, I mean, you mentioned the type of music, but was there any like particular artists that you were like just loved growing up and kind of set you on this journey to be a singer-songwriter?
Yeah, definitely like Alison Krauss
Yeah.
and Dan Tyminski, like that whole like 90s I don't know, like I grew up listening to like just country radio in the truck on the way to rodeos.
Yeah.
And when she when I don't know, just when like Allison Krauss and Union Station came on the radio, it was like one of those things that I understood the feeling of it, but I didn't know why it moved me so much. Like that's how young I was, like checking cows to Allison Krauss, her live album, and just like weeping. Like I have like these memories of that. She's by far the most like influential artist for me. Um, and just, I mean, it's hard to choose like Patsy Cline, um, Bobby Gentry is a huge influence for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but definitely, I feel like when I'm asked this question, then I just like blank out on anyone, and then we'll get off of the interview, and I'll be like, and them, and them, and them, and them. But
Yeah.
obviously, like the Dillards, um, yeah, I just, I don't know, the storytelling of like what was on the radio kind of moved me. And as I got older, I was like, I want to be what Alison Krauss was for 90s mainstream country for today's country.
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of been the goal. But yeah.
Yeah. You know, maybe that's what it was. I don't know. We were at work and I had some of your music on, and Andrea, she was like, I kind of sound like Alison Krauss. Like we actually heard
What?
like we had a little pinch of it in there.
Dang. Wow. Well, that's like the highest compliment I could ever receive. Um,
Yeah, I never got a chance to see her. I haven't seen her yet.
oh, I saw her when I've seen her a few times now, but I saw her when I was maybe like 9 or 10.
Hmm.
And it was actually in Branson, Missouri, during one of my nights off after the show. And she was playing at this place called the Grand Palace. I don't think it even exists anymore, but it was like a birthday gift or something. I got to go into like, I don't know if you remember this culture in the early 2000s, but you could like walk into these little makeshift studios and pay them like $75. And they would have like a list of karaoke tracks that you could sing, and then you'd leave with a CD. Like, I don't even know how entirely legal it was, but I,
Yeah,
when, do you remember this at all?
I don't, but I know that they basically did the same thing at the Ryman.
Oh, okay.
At one
Yeah.
point, I don't know now, but you could go in there and cut a song, and you'd
Yeah.
left with a little. But
So that's how like I recorded my albums as a little teenager. You know, I like 12, 13 would go in and sing all these cover songs. And yeah, anyway, I just like have this vivid memory of going in, recording a song and leaving, and then my parents being like, you're going to see Alison Krauss in Union Station. They're playing across the street. And I was like, stop. And so they took me, and I just remember for like about an hour and a half just crying through hearing her voice like
wow,
reverberate through that room. And like one of the most moving experiences of my life. But then I like went through a weird phase, not weird, but I like went through a phase of not listening to anything that I was raised on for probably a couple of years, and fell in love with like the Stones, Father John Misty, Cat Power,
okay,
Sam Cooke, like kind of pivoted, and then ultimately have like circled back, been fallen
yeah,
in love with my roots again. But
I do love some Sam Cooke though, for sure.
oh yeah, I mean, legend.
That voice is like butter.
Absolutely. So good.
Yeah, I never seen Alice Krauss. I did see Dan Tominski and got to meet him. That was kind of cool.
Nice.
Um, it reminds me of that Bill Monroe poster you have behind you. About 40 minutes south of here is where Bill Monroe's campground he purchased and made a bluegrass festival. It's the longest bluegrass festival that's still active.
Wow.
I don't know how many years it's been. Anyway, he built the stage there. Still goes on every summer, and I saw Dan Tominski played there, I don't know, 12 years ago or something. Um, it was kind of weird because Ralph Stanley's there,
Mm,
and at the time, that was still a pretty big hit for Dan to be covering "Man of Constant Sorrow."
yeah.
Up there and does his whole set, and he didn't play that song. I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's Ralph Stanley's song. And so when
Yeah.
Ralph came up, he did it. He wasn't taking his spotlight,
Dang. Yeah,
but
that.
it's a cool spot. You'd have to hit that up sometime because there is a bluegrass like little Hall of Fame museum if you're traveling
Oh,
through. They got
very cool.
all kinds of stuff from the past, and it's a neat little gift shop slash museum.
Yeah.
But
Cool. I'll check it out.
yeah. Well, I thanks for being on again. I appreciate it. I'm excited about your EP though. I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to let it all out. So
Right. Do you have a website or anything that people should know about or just social media or
socials, it's Tori Miller Music on everything.
like
And that's
yep.
typically where I post all the things. So, but I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do it again in the future, I'm sure. So,
Yeah.
I'm a fan, so
Thank you. I'm a fan of yours too. All these like tight shows you're putting on. Pretty cool.
I'm trying. Just another music lover, just something to do. So
I love it.
I think I like it so much just because I can't do it. I got a banjo, but I don't play very well.
I
So
want to hear you play. Somehow I bet you're like way better than you give yourself credit for. It's like what I imagine.
yeah, I noodle. That's about it. So, all right, Tori. We'll catch you later and hopefully see you soon.
Alrighty. See ya.